Hello, good afternoon. It's Adil Fazal here, market analyst at CFDs.com, bringing you a review of European markets for the Thursday, 3rd of December 2015. Be sure to visit CFDs.com for your trading needs. They are the leading specialist spread breaking and CFD brokerage, and you can qualify for up to a 25% bonus. Alternatively, you can visit the educational website, which is www.cfds.education. Okay, in terms of the European markets this morning, we have the US markets obviously finished lower overnight based on terrorism fears and hawkish yelling. The FTSE 100 this morning is doing well, currently trading up by 0.25%. The German DAX has rebounded quite sharply, back up almost a percentage. The CAC more than 1% higher, quite impressively. The Nikkei overnight was flat. The Hang Seng was negative, but the Shanghai certainly retraced. Now, bring up the chart of the Shanghai. Let's just have a look here in terms of the Shanghai index. We still remain within that bearish engulfing candle, so therefore buyer still remains bearish, and the Nikkei still remains sub 20,000 and therefore still holding that gap fill resistance. So based on the review of the Asian indices, where would one presume the European markets would go? My basically conclusion would be that the markets would certainly go higher. That's my interpretation of the events thus far. Okay, now that's based on intermarket analysis, based on my understanding that the markets are obviously interwoven and certainly they move in tandem, and therefore, given the fact that we have European markets, Asian markets in a bearish setup, I certainly expect the European markets to follow suit. Now, the Nasdaq has shaken off the actual concerns of the terrorism concerns thus far. We're trading back up to 4730 region high. The FTSE obviously is back up to 6440, and the European markets have certainly short squeezed higher as well. Now, in terms of economic data this morning, overall, the data basically paints the picture that the ECB may well wait for now in terms of any more additional QE, although the market certainly seems to believe that they are going to do more QE, hence the reason why the euro is now back at the 1.0560 level. This morning, in terms of economic data, the Chinese data certainly came out weaker. China Caxton services came out weaker. JPY, or market services, Japanese market services data came out weaker. The Spanish data came out stronger, Italian data weaker, French data weaker, German services, German data came in line, Eurozone market services PMI basically came out weaker, GBP market services for the UK, or PMI for the UK, came out slightly stronger. Retail sales in the Eurozone actually came out weaker. So mixed set of results overall, okay, but sufficient enough to prevent the ECB doing more QE, especially with regards to Miss Yellen being hawkish yesterday. I think she certainly has done the job for Mr. Draghi to a large extent, and therefore Mr. Draghi is looking to disappoint from my perspective. Why do I say he's going to disappoint? Because of the price action in bonds. The bonds are holding that double top resistance. If the bonds are holding that double top resistance, then you can expect the euro to start to move higher. And everything, or QE, certainly has been priced into the market already. As you can see here now, for a number of days, the bonds have certainly held that resistance zone. Whether or not they're waiting for Mr. Draghi, or alternatively they are pricing in all QE, and therefore you are looking for a euro rally. Now, looking at the euro itself, let's just assess the strength of the euro. Bring up the chart of euro USD. Have I got euro GBP here as well? Bear with me. So euro USD, okay, so I was expecting this falling, contracting wedge pattern to certainly break out on the upside. It certainly looks very weak at this current juncture. I do have a long euro from 1.0574, and my stop loss is well, it's not on the verge, but 10 points away from being hit. So my bullish bias certainly is wrong on this indices, and obviously based on the bond price of bonds, and also based on the economic data thus far, and obviously equity markets as well. Now, we did have a report yesterday from the ECB of, well, so we say that Reuters, that the ECB would maintain its macroeconomic projections and therefore would not be as dovish as everybody expected, and therefore that would lead to a rally in the euro. The euro certainly did rally yesterday, even with Miss Yellen being hawkish, and that showed you strength. But this morning, the euro is taking a turn for the worse. So whether or not some new whether individuals are pricing in certain economic and basically projections, we don't know yet. Okay, so again, we have to leave it to the market to decide. Right, in terms of the euro, again, it is into horizontal support. If it does crack this, then you have support at 1.0520. But given the fact that the bonds are certainly putting in a double top, I am expecting the euro to certainly rally and appreciate itself. Okay, so bear that in mind. Okay, in terms of the actual market or price action on the equity front. Okay, so you have the Euro stock certainly pushing higher again. You are still maintaining that rally. We are testing the highs, as you can see here. We've rallied from a pivot low of 3460, so rallied almost 20 points back to the highs again in terms of the Euro stocks. We are holding resistance here. Resistance at 3515 is being held, and we shall see exactly how this market trades. Okay, in terms of the price movements. I was expecting an inverted head and shoulders formation, but the market certainly pushed higher regardless, so quite an impressive thrust regardless. Okay, so still observing, resistance remains at 3515. If that were to go, then 3520, 3525. But this move has been very, very impressive this morning. 3460 all the way up to 3515 on the back of expectations of Mr. Draghi. Very, very impressive. Okay, German DAX itself, we're still remaining that rising, contracting wedge type pattern. Okay, something to observe. 60-minute chart has negated the HNS trend line, so there goes the HNS formation, and now we are back to the key levels. So you have horizontal resistance here and here in terms of the German DAX. Okay, so again, you have a resistance zone here if we do push higher. The 10-minute chart of the German DAX, you obviously have rejected that 11315 level, flushed as low as 11264. Quite an impressive flush. Okay, and 11260 certainly remains support, and we shall see exactly how this German DAX trades, whether it has an inverted head and shoulders formation higher or whether we continue to move lower. Okay, that certainly needs to be observed with interest. Okay, now in terms of the French CAC, let's bring up the CAC itself. CAC has had quite a stellar rally. Looking at the daily chart, we are now back into that resistance zone on the daily chart. Looking at the 60-minute chart, we're back into that horizontal resistance and holding. 10-minute chart is a break out of the rising contracting wedge pattern, and we do have this potential bear flag scenario, looking for a lower a potential move lower back down to the 4940 region for the CAC itself. So again, keep an eye out that in terms of the price action there. So that's going to be very interesting going forward. Okay, the FTSE 100 now in terms of price action. The weekly chart is now coming into resistance. This is a key resistance zone based on the weekly chart of the FTSE 100. Daily chart clearly shows you are into resistance as well on the FTSE itself, given the fact that we did have the confusion with regards to the Saudis cutting production, and it has been confirmed now that the Saudis are not entertaining that idea and have ridiculed the story so far. So it has been confusing for me in terms of trading the FTSE itself, but we are into resistance on the FTSE 100 on the 60-minute chart. Going into your 10-minute chart, you can see that you are into resistance also, and we are languishing at this 6440 zone. Rising contracting wedge pattern again is a bearish formation, so looking for potential new low and a move lower here. Support will be seen on the FTSE at the pivot low of 6407 this morning. You do have support below at 6400 as well. Okay, well, it's all about Mr. Draghi now. Mr. Draghi obviously will dictate the price action in the next 60 minutes. All eyes on the euro and all eyes on indices as well. We shall see exactly how this market responds. Okay, will he fail to deliver, or will he exceed expectations? This is basically what we're observing and what we're waiting for. So good luck with today's trading, folks. Be sure to visit cfds.com. Goodbye now.